exciting day for Monticello Road and for Columbia International University, but most of all for this great neighborhood. We are here today to announce some important investments in our community. And my name is Dr. Mark Smith. I'm president here at CIU, and when I arrived here almost 2 years ago, I was driving my first time up Monticello Road, and I noticed it was a gateway to Columbia International University, and then my mind expanded and I realized it was a gateway to a lot of things. It was a gateway to this neighborhood, and we needed some work in this area to make it better than before and to uplift it in a new way. So immediately I began to rely on my special assistant here, Dr. Andre Rogers and Dr. Andre Melvin, who worked with me at CIU, and I said, man, would you brainstorm with me about possibilities for Monticello Road? And then I was fortunate to meet Ron Tryon with the Soccer Association nearby, and I began to meet the mayor of Columbia, and he began to share his vision. And then I met some council folks, and Paul Livingston in particular came by numerous times to share with us, and I saw a plan developing for this team. And I want to say right up front, this neighborhood is now headed in a new direction. 7 communities have been purchased, 7 lots have been purchased that were blighted, that were unattractive, that were involved in crime. In fact, as I worked with the sheriff department, Sheriff Lott was one of the first guys I met with as well in coming to town. And he told me, he said, one of the #1 crime responses we have to go is right here on Monticello Road. And I said, Sheriff, what do we do about it? And he said, let's clean it up some way. And department. So over the last year and a half, students, residents, and really these community leaders have come together to say Monticello Road, as I was told, the forgotten community is no longer going to be forgotten. I heard that commitment from our mayor, I heard that commitment from our county council, and that inspired me as I talked to our community leaders. And CIU is now investing $15 million along Monticello Road, and recently we put together an organization to purchase these 7 blighted areas and to begin to attract new business, new educational opportunities for this area. Not only, our goal all along has been, let's uplift the community. Let's invest in the community. And with what Ron Tryon and the Soccer Association is doing, with what now we are doing, and with what our neighborhood presidents are involved in, we see a bright future. Let me mention that it's not just these lots, though. I challenge CIU. I have a firm belief as a president that if a university lives and operates in a community, then it should serve that community. That is our highest priority as we begin to work together. And so we have started under Coach Tony Stockman and Coach Temple Elmore, men's and women's basketball, something called Basketball and Books, where we now are going in to help raise some of the lowest reading scores in our schools in this district. And working with Richland One, they have been fantastic partners. We have said we're going to take on these local schools in this area and we're going to lift and pour resources into them as well. We believe the future is bright on Monticello Road. So I'm pleased to announce today that we have invested heavily in Monticello Road. I cannot share with you all the details, but I will share this with you. If you drove by today, you see buildings that are being torn down. You see lots that are being made clean and preparing them for the future. And I have a handshake with one businessman who is going to come forward very soon for about a $4 million investment. All the details will have to be worked out, working with the councils as we go forward, working in the right regulatory process to make sure everything's done appropriately. but we have a handshake, even agreement on a nice business venture coming in to bring some jobs to the area and to begin to clean up Monticello Road in a new way. We secondly would use this time to say to the county council and Paul Livingston, who has been a tremendous friend, as we work together, we are asking and trying to work with the sheriff to put a sheriff substation right on Monticello Road to deal with crime. All of us saw the reports of 29203 and all the crime that's been in these areas. Well, we have said we are taking major action to take care of crime in our area. So two things are needed. We're going to ask for a sheriff substation. We have the facility. All we need is a small investment, I think about $200,000, that we're going to ask for to renovate a building and put a sheriff substation in. And I ask for the support of all in the community. Our community is behind this. Secondly, we are asking for lights for our streets. That's a simple thing, but we all know that light deters crime. Anyone that knows anything about crime knows that. And so we believe that not only the south side of Monticello, which is being worked on, can progress forward, but we also think we can move forward. We thank you for being here because we see Monticello Road as a great initiative that's moving forward. It's my privilege to share this podium today with so many others who have been involved, and we'll start first with Chief Cowan, who has shared the commitment strongly. And Chief, would you come and speak on behalf of the sheriff, who was not able to be here today, but we welcome you.
It's really exciting because you look behind me and you see people standing shoulder to shoulder. It's almost a circle. And this is what it's all about, is everybody coming together as a community in partnership. There hasn't been any resistance from anybody in the community, anybody on any city or county council or any community group, that everybody has said the same thing: we need this. It's not often law enforcement gets to stand at a podium and talk about exciting things, revitalization, reclaiming communities. But today we get to do that. More often than not, we're talking about criminal activity or things that have occurred that are negative in our community. Today we get to talk about something that is so exciting to us. Public safety is excited about what's going on Monticello Road because of the dramatic change that's going to take place because of the input and the generosity of Columbia International University. So we're thankful to the university, we're thankful for the partnership with the city and with the county, but we're more excited about the fact that we have our community partners here with us, standing next to us and with us as we drive forward to reclaim Monticello Road and run the bad guys out of Richland County. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I was talking to the sheriff when he told me he was unable to come, and he said, I'll have my team there, and he said, those guys are so excited. I personally observed in 1 week, I observed 8 officers responding at the bottom of the hill 3 different times to calls in 1 week. Assaults, drugs, trafficking, you name it, we were dealing with it. But today, that is gone, cleaned up. And our sheriff department, thank you guys for the tremendous job you've done to move us forward. Secondly, a key leader, our leader in this community that's worked with our community leaders, but the one appointed to work with CIU is Reverend Andre Melvin. He is the pastor of Temple Zion Baptist Church. I can't say enough about our community leaders. Wow. I love just meeting with them. They excite me every time. So Pastor Andre, come and introduce the rest of the leaders and have a few words.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Andre Melvin. I serve here at CIU, but also I'm a pastor in this community at Temple Zion Baptist Church. And with me, we have several of our leaders that are gathered for this occasion. We have Nicole Roan. She's the president of Booker Heights Association. We have Bertha Millhouse. Okay, well, thank you. Bertha Millhouse. She's with the with Forest Heights Community Association. Dean Slade. He's also with Denny Terrace Community Association. Pastor Eugene Duvall, and he's a representative for the Sarah Matthew Wages Road Association. Pastor Leroy Cannon from Christ Mission. Mr. Roy Washington. He's the president of the Denny Terrace Wait, there you go. Community Association. We also have, who I'm missing, Pastor Glenn Wigfall. He's the pastor of Haskell Heights First Baptist Church. Also, we have Stacy Atkinson, who works with Christ's Mission, and Norma Mackey, who works also with Christ's Mission. Did I miss anybody? Oh, and Lori Sycamore, yeah, thank you. She's also with Denny Terrace.
Aaron Bishop.
And Aaron Bishop.
You gotta name me twice.
You know, the problem with naming names, you might forget a few, but they are here representing the North Monticello Leadership Coalition. It was about a year ago that Dr. Smith shared with me and Dr. Rogers his vision for the community, and I thought it would be good to get all the members of the community to meet with him. And it was actually a year ago today that we invited Dr. Smith to come to our church and share with the members of the community. And he shared his heart, he shared his vision, and he shared his concerns, as he stated earlier, about what's going on here in our area. And he really gave us a lot of hope, gave us a lot of joy to hear that the president of CIU was concerned and willing to do something about it. And at that meeting, it was pretty interesting that I saw 4 community associations in that meeting, and all kinds of leaders, pastors, presidents, and they all were concerned about the same things. And so we thought that it would be good to meet with these leaders and begin to work and develop a coalition, that we wouldn't be in our individual silos, different sides of the streets, trying to work on these problems individually, but what would it look like to come together and work together to address these concerns that we had. And so that's what we did. Excuse me. That's what we did. And for a year now, we've been meeting together and meeting with the president and partnering with each other to see how we can move in a right direction here on Monticello Road. And we're so glad to see what God has done in a year's time under the leadership of Dr. Smith and CIU. And we look forward to continuing our partnership and working on economic development, working on how we can impact the families here in these communities, and how we can work and do that together. So we're so glad to be here today, and thank you so much for coming.
To School Board Member Aaron Bishop, let me just say, I got that in too. School Board Member Aaron Bishop, let's get that name in again now. That's 4 times we've got it. He has been a friend, came and visited, and I am excited about what we're doing with reading. We watch this school in this area. We are getting ready to work together to raise reading scores. And that's exciting. That's important. And School Board Member, we thank you for being here representing Bristol. Additionally today, one of the first people that I was able to meet with, and I think we met 3 or 4 times. He's accessible, he's a cheerleader, he's a champion, and he is our mayor. And Mayor Steve Benjamin has been right by our side saying, what do you need? How do we move forward? Let's make it happen. Mayor, we welcome you today.
Not know that Dr. Smith is a former elected official too. if you get a little bit of politics out of how he says what he says, that may answer your question. I'll be brief. I know we have several presenters here, and I'm not sure I'm ever allowed to come to this part of town and actually speak before Senator Scott, so I'm actually going to speak really fast before he touches on my coat in a second. I want to thank Dr. Smith and the leadership of CIU for the vision that was articulated to the entire community about ways in which we could unleash the incredible energy and innovation and creativity in this God's work being done on this campus and use it to the benefit of the entire community. I don't want to lost on anyone that just the ability to ameliorate 7 properties, the impact that has. What it says to you is that, of course, there's several hundred properties all across this community, North Monticello community. So it tells you that a very small number of folks might have been really creating the vast majority of problems. You got good, hardworking, decent, God-fearing people out here who've been working for years on making this community better. working arm in arm with so many of us who are standing behind this podium, and really talking about a couple of small actors who now we're gonna see what was meant for bad to be indeed used for good to help elevate the entire community. I want to thank CIU, thank Dr. Smith and everyone here for helping us restore this historic commercial corridor. This is a gateway to our state capital. Our state capital belongs to the people of all 46 counties, and for those of you who believe that South Carolina is indeed the center of the universe, like I do, we are the center. I believe the center of the universe, center of the world. The work that's being done here on this campus to influence the world and do God's will all across the globe is now going to be perpetuated in a more meaningful way, even more meaningful way for the city and for the people in this community right at the gateway of Monticello Road and I-20. Thank you, Tom.
Said I was a former elected official. I learned my lessons there. I'll leave that to the rest of you now. This community will move forward, and we hope that we can put a model together that can be replicated. We plan to go after some federal grants. We plan to use private investment. I am a firm believer that our nation will never move forward just on government input. It takes private-public partnerships, and that's why you see Ron Tryon and the investments, the millions they put in. You see what we're doing, you see other business leaders, you see these community leaders, the churches in this community that are stepping forward. Last Saturday, you should have been here, and I came by, and everyone picking up the trash and making a difference. That's what this community is about. This community is not about that handful of people who created chaos, who were involved in crime. This is a great community, and it didn't take long to see that. And I love it here. I love serving with this community. Thank you all for your hard work as community leaders. Thank you. It's also a privilege to have a gentleman who came early on to see how he could be involved.
Thank you, Mr. President, and also the faculty and other members and community leaders. But let me say to you, Mr. President, there are a lot of leaders who have been working for years and waiting on this day, and we do invite the investment, the private investment, to begin at the beginning of the industrial park. We've laid the groundwork for many years. The water and sewer infrastructure is in place, so it's easy to expand where you want to go. The new recreation facilities are also there, also coupled with some of the education and homework centers that you may decide to do. And so the last part that the community has been waiting on is stores and other kinds of facilities that will be made available so that they can have an additional social life. So the $15 million, which begins that portion of investment, the community will, along with myself, will join you in trying to identify additional funds so we can grow this community, especially on the social side, and as well as the economic. And to my man, I'm glad to see you cross I-20.
I didn't bring my visa.
And I hope that the city crossing I-20 is not just for annexation, but also there's also a big investment on this side of I-20. Thank you so much. We look forward to working with you.
Today, Paul Livingston was unable to be here, our chair actually of the county council. There was a death, and many of the council members are attending that today. Gwen Kennedy had a death in the family. But we do have council woman Tamika Isaac Devine here, and she has been out already to meet, and we are so thrilled to have you today. I didn't have it on the agenda. You want to say anything, add anything? Okay, we welcome you today. We will take some questions if you want. I would say this, Dr. Smith, some are saying, what are you asking for? Well, first we are looking at the possibilities of a very nice, well-lit gas station that would have food choices as well, such as Subway, Dairy Queen, approaching those. We have no commitments at this point. Chick-fil-A, Zaxby's. we're making contacts everywhere. We're looking at all kinds of options, whether we could bring in drugstore or small bank. I've approached 2 bank presidents. None of this is done, but we are actively seeking. So this news conference, we want you to know, we are all saying we're open for business. We need you here. And we welcome you to Monticello Road, a place that's cleaned up. I mean, who wouldn't want to locate right across from the sheriff's department hub? I mean, crime-free right around it. So this is going to be wonderful, and we welcome you today. So any questions, I or any of the members that you'd like to address?
I've got a question. So when we talk about 29203 Monticello Road area, why has it taken a long time to revitalize these areas? And what are some of the challenges that this community has faced?
Well, the 29203 is such a very large and vast community in terms of where the county has decided to invest first in trying to fix its infrastructure. Unlike the city of Columbia County, government only began to exist in 1975. Since 75, the county has had to move with small parts of grant funding and also some state funding to begin to put the infrastructure. Once you put the infrastructure in, then you can begin to grow the stores. At the same time, you watch 29203 make a transition from one community to another community. So as it comes out those different transitions, you watch us rebuild community organization and rebuild lifestyle. So we're now at that point where we've identified in the 29203 what's going to be industrial park, where the bedroom community is going to be, and so now you can begin to build from that base and expand to do the kinds of investment we're talking about doing here today.
And so what are the challenges that y'all have faced?
Challenge is always going to be in funding. Funding is always going to be a challenge, because without the growth in trying to recruit industry to come into your community, it does not represent dollars and cents to them. We are able to bring people in, and we build communities. We're bringing bodies in, of course. We can attract people who want to come back.
Oh, and I'll say something. I was going to avoid saying anything, but I will. I think it's important actually to follow the facts and the data. The reality is that home sales, new home sales, new construction, adaptive reuse across 29203. It's all fine. It's good. I mean, it's healthy. And mind you, we need to see it come across the interstate. And that's, of course, as you may know, the county line. And we've got to make sure that we're creative in making sure that the investments we make, primarily in infrastructure, water, sewer, we're now, I think we've invested maybe $40 or $50 million in Crane Creek. To make sure that that infrastructure is there to really capitalize on the incredible growth we're seeing north of us, east of us, and west of us, and connecting the dots. The possibilities, the potential of this region, connecting northeast Richland County, northwest Richland County, and sandwiched between Blackwood and downtown is immense. And anyone who doesn't see what's happening here with CIU, happening with SC United, with the incredible infrastructure investments, and still a very tight housing market, is going to miss the boat. So this is opportunity. This is not challenge.
I would say there's another opportunity. I believe right now, the team that we're bringing into CIU and the team that we have as leaders in this community, there's a new opportunity for unity and vision and focus. And that always goes to part of the challenges that have been out there. I'm coming in new, I understand that. I have tried not to do anything to disrupt the community. I only want to lift and support the community and build on what's here. And so many people have done wonderful jobs over the years of getting this community ready. And I think we're at the point now where this is the moment that we have the right people, the right structures, the right facilities, the right infrastructure to move forward with the new vision and the new day. And so that's why when I came to the board, I said, board, I think we need to do something for this community to jumpstart what I see as a ray of hope. And I found community leaders are absolutely all over it. They're working hard. And so I think with vision and leadership, building off of what's here, this may be a renewed day for focus and vision to put us forward. And here's what I've learned. I teach leadership. resources always follow vision. So let's put out the vision and see where we can go. And I believe those resources will come together as we go forward. And with great leaders like we have, they're on board. They see that. And I believe this is a new day. The college, I don't know how many people know it. We were rated #1 this year in 2 different surveys. It's #1 college in South Carolina. Very few people know that. We also grew 20.3%. Colleges everywhere are in decline. Last year we grew 200 students. It's a new day at CIU. So let's let that momentum go forward and make it an explosive time for this community. And let's give God all the glory at the end of the day. Amen.